be used against us and keep us in. In economic turmoil, the people want to leave with their capital.
Well, this story really caught our attention. Some new concerns by some that the IRS could soon have the power to seize your passport. That's if you're delinquent on paying your taxes. Even if, by the way, you haven't paid your taxes, but you're not facing any criminal charges. This is part of a bill that's reauthorizing transportation funds, so it's sort of tucked in there. And it's making its way through Congress right now. The IRS can already confiscate your property and also pursue criminal cases against tax cheats, but it can't take your passport. So is it legal to stop citizens from leaving the country? Let's bring in Jennifer Von Jean, a criminal defense attorney, and former prosecutor Doug Burns. Welcome to you both. This is a very interesting topic. So, Jennifer, is this legal if it happens?
Listen, the right to travel abroad is a constitutionally protected right. Now, it can be regulated. The government has the right to regulate it, but it has to be done under the confines of due process. And this legislation on its face arguably does not provide the protections that are warranted when the government is infringing on a person's constitutional right to travel. And that's what's troubling about this legislation. But can they regulate it? Yes, but they can't do it willy-nilly. There have to be protections in place so that people are not having their constitutional rights infringed upon.
Well, Doug, the other argument is that there is due process. If you're $50,000, you have to be $50,000 behind in your taxes, the IRS can do this.
First of all, we have a law that says if you're in serious arrearage on child support, okay, your passport can be suspended or revoked, and the State Department can refuse to issue you a passport. So that leads to the next bit of analysis. How would you compare theoretically child support and taxes?
Sure.
The law is you have to be $50,000 in arrears, and the IRS has to have already levied against your property or filed a lien on your property. Moreover, there are two exceptions that are critical. If you are fighting it in court or if you have some payment plan in place, the law does not apply.
So the question becomes, Jennifer, though, when it comes to enforcement, because it sounds really, you know, important disclaimers. If there's a levy against your house or something else is going on, you should be able to leave the country. But the thinking that that's going to all be organized well, when you get up to leave the country, you know, there could be some doubt.
Yes, and what happens when they make this determination when you're trying to come back into your country? The problem with this bill is that it doesn't have independent oversight. The IRS gets to be judge, jury, and executioner here.
So if there was a police officer there, Jennifer, it wasn't the IRS, and there was another agency, and Doug, I'll let you weigh in a second, would that change the law for you, or change this policy, because it's not even a law?
There should be a review process by a neutral arbiter to come in and say whether it's appropriate for the IRS to take this action, to curtail your constitutional rights. There should be a third party, either a magistrate, an administrative body, somebody to review the evidence and determine whether, in fact, you are delinquent $50,000. Sometimes the IRS gets it wrong, and there has to be a process to oversee that.
Now, the reason I was disagreeing is that the IRS, if they make this determination of a $50,000 arrearage and a lien being filed, they then switch it over to the State Department. Jennifer's right. Of course, you want to have notice and an opportunity to contest it, which is in the child support law.
It's not in
and
the
I
passport.
didn't see it in here.
Exactly.
Exactly. But
so what does that change?
No, but it may be in the State Department procedures, and it has to be. It does.
The State Department is just the agency that's giving the passport. They take notice from the IRS, and I mean, at least the way I read it, there isn't going to be any oversight by the State Department, which is precisely the problem. The other problem with this legislation is that it's been tucked in with a funding bill, and we don't know whether or not there actually is support for this type of legislation.
You know, one has to wonder how big of a problem it is of Americans that owe more than $50,000 in taxes leaving the country. Doug, you have a quick final thought, and then I'm going to have to run.
I mean, we have $450 billion unpaid to the government for the '06 year. That was based on a study. So look, it's a pretty serious problem. I don't know exactly how many people necessarily owe more than 50, but I don't think people are going to be stopping you at the airport, okay?
We'll see what happens, and we'll have you both back. Jennifer,
thank you.
That you don't know. We don't know what might happen. All right, Jennifer and Doug, nice to see you as always. We'll continue to follow this. True, though, Rick, it's tucked into a transportation bill, and that's already, as I believe it passed through the Senate, is now on the way into the House. So there's all those sorts of things that are sort of tucked in places, you know, on the 50th page, and you wonder what the real consequence of that might be.
Sure, we could secure the borders. A barbed wire fence with machine guns, that would do the trick. I don't believe that's what America is all about. I just really don't. We can enforce our law. If we had a healthy economy, this wouldn't be such a bad deal. People are worrying about jobs. But every time you think about this toughness on the border and ID cards and real IDs, think that it's a penalty against the American people, too. I think this fence business is designed and may well be used against us and keep us in. In economic turmoil, the people want to leave with their capital, and there's capital controls and there's people control. So every time you think of a fence keeping all those bad people out, think about those fences maybe being used against us, keeping us in.